Well, Coach, your initial thoughts on seeing your team against an outside opponent for the first time?
Well, I thought it was really good for a number of our players and obviously our team as a whole, just to play in front of a crowd and to get back out there. It's been a long time, and as much as we try to simulate that part of it, there's something to be said about getting the anxiety, the jitters out, especially if you're a freshman. This is clearly their first time ever playing in McHale, and it's a big moment. I thought 10, 15 minutes of the first half, we had some anxiety on our side that wasn't good. You could tell that we wanted to make every shot, and we wanted to be perfect, and we didn't come out of the gates with a great confidence. But as the game wore on, in particular the end of the first half, it was almost like once we got things going a little bit, we gained that confidence. And I really felt like in the second half, we were much more sure of ourselves, and we were a better team in the second half. One of the big reasons that we played these guys is, number one, they're one of the best Division II teams this season in the country. They have an elite perimeter player, and they have a really good low post player. And as you know, Brian, their defense is very good. They play a matchup zone. They play it the entire game. So what we just did, playing against that type of defense, playing against this type of opponent, is we prepared as much as anything for our early schedule. I feel like watching us in the second half against their zone, we, again, made more plays. We shared the ball. We got the ball closer to the basket. And that's this year's team's identity on offense as much as anything. We have to get the ball inside. When we do, a lot of good things happen. But you don't just flip on a switch and all of a sudden look like you're in mid-season form against a very good matchup zone. It took some time, but I think it was time well spent, and it will serve us well with any team that decides to play a zone here in the month of November. And I believe that quite a few will mix it in.
Well, it's interesting because lots of times when you think of a zone defense, you think, okay, you shoot over it. But your team used its size advantage inside to penetrate that zone. Is that, again, as you mentioned there, one of the strengths you hope to carry throughout the season?
Well, when Brandon and Caleb get the ball inside, in particular, good things happen. And, in Rondé, as the game settled in, you could see him really start to be himself. He wasn't himself early, but in the second half, I thought he did a really good job. And he's along those same lines. As he gets the ball in the paint, whether he shoots it, passes, and offensive rebounds, finishes, good things happen. The other thing that starts to happen is our transition game. In the first half, we did a good job on defense, but we scored very few points in transition off of our defense. In the second half, if you think about some of the best plays we had, it happened with our defense getting a stop and then us pushing the ball up and creating either a dunk, layup, an inside catch, and then a couple of our best three-point shots happened in transition. But we're a new group, and as much as we talk about defense to offense, you have to get through it a couple times before I think everybody learns what we mean by that.
You had a great rebounding guard in Nick Johnson last year, and then I look at tonight's stat line, and I see T.J. McConnell and Gabe York combining for 13 rebounds between the two of them. How valuable can that be if numbers like that continue?
Well, coming out of our St. Mary's scrimmage, we learned a lot of things last Sunday, and one of the things, we didn't rebound in that scrimmage nearly as well. Obviously, 39-23 here tonight. That's more along the lines of being who we are, because I think we have a chance to be a very good rebounding team. The other thing that I liked about our team tonight, we had 23 assists. Stanford played this same team 2 days ago, and Stanford, I believe, had 6 assists in the entire 40-minute game. So 23 assists, I think, reflects that although it's early, we shared the ball. 12 turnovers, and, T.J. McConnell uncharacteristically ended up with 4. So when you think of the 12 turnovers, 23 assists, that was very good. We rebounded the ball very good. And the one thing about this year's team is we're a much better free throw shooting team, but we weren't tonight. And I thought some of it early on was more of a function of the first free throws of the season as opposed to that we're not a good free throw shooting team. So I believe that the next time we take the court, we'll improve on that.
You spent some time, of course, with the team in the locker room. Now, how much will you spend on this game film with them in the next day or so?
Well, quite a bit here initially. There's no better feedback than to show our team against an opponent, whether it be offense, defense, and then sometimes just individual clips. You know, for the first time, you're not showing them against ourselves, you're showing them against the other team. But we'll learn a lot from it, Brian. Like I said last week, I don't know how far along we are. When you watched us in the first 10 or 15 minutes, you probably saw some of the things that I alluded to last week when I talked about our team, that we still are very much a work in progress in certain areas. But we can gain confidence and improve by leaps and bounds in 1 week. You know, our next goal is when we play on Friday, our season opener, that we're a much better team across the board than we were this weekend. And as long as we continue to improve and make those gains, our team will continue to head down that path that we all want it to. But, you know, in one way, we're a far cry from being as good as we one day want to be. But I think all of us realize today's November 9th. We've played an exhibition game. We had a number of players play in tonight's game. That was the first college game of their career. And they're going to do nothing but get better and more comfortable over time.
All right, Coach. We'll see you on Friday.
Thank you.
Head Coach Sean Miller here at Courtside at McKale Center, where the Wildcats beat Cal Poly Pomona 67-51.